this got to do with me?
This is the story of Herb and Irene. Well, to be fair, it's really Irene and millions of herbs. But one of those herbs was exceedingly persistent and managed to mix his DNA with her DNA. And, you know, somewhere in the neighborhood of 9 months, a baby was born. Oh, wait a minute, we're getting way ahead of ourselves. We need to back up a little bit. So, just back up, that's good. No, wait, stop, wait, too far. Far too far. There you go, very good.
Meiosis is very similar in process to mitosis, but very different in end result. Where mitosis takes one cell and makes an exact copy of that cell and occurs all over the body, meiosis, on the other hand, only happens in the testes and ovaries of sexually reproducing organisms. And at the end of meiosis, you end up with 4 cells with only half of the chromosomes. At the end of meiosis, you get 4 cells with only half the chromosomes in them. If this was happening in a male, these cells would all be sperm cells. And if this was happening in a female, these cells would all be egg cells. There are many reasons to care about meiosis. The major one, without the process of meiosis, your potential for existence becomes 0. Another reason to care about meiosis is that without this simple cellular division process, all sexually reproducing life on the planet would disappear after the first generation. And the last reason to care about meiosis is that meiosis is responsible for the wide variety of life on the planet. There are almost 7 billion Homo sapiens, and yet none of us look exactly the same. Mitosis deals with both haploid and diploid cells. Mitosis turns a diploid cell into another diploid cell, and a haploid cell into another haploid cell. Meiosis, on the other hand, only deals with diploid cells and turns every one of them into 4 additional haploid cells. So here we get to 2 new vocabulary words, diploid and haploid. Both of these words refer to the state of the chromosomes inside of the cells. Diploid refers to pairs, such as these pairs of socks, pairs of pears, pairs of swans, and pairs of cranes. In all of these examples, there are 2 individuals that are similar, but they're not identical. In diploid cells, there are any number of chromosomes, but the chromosomes are always in homologous, similar but not identical pairs. Haploid refers to the state of a cell that has any number of chromosomes, but all of those chromosomes are individual or alone, such as a bunch of single socks, or single pears, or single swans, or single cranes. In haploid cells, no matter how many chromosomes it has, all those chromosomes are individual or alone. Here's a great side-by-side comparison of a diploid and haploid cells. Notice the same number of different chromosomes, but diploid chromosomes are in pairs and haploid chromosomes stand alone.
You're not done with her, are you?
Our babies will be smart and beautiful.
Not to mention imaginary.
Now is the time to go over how meiosis happens and the steps required for it. The steps of meiosis are very similar to the steps of mitosis, except there are 3 extra steps, and the end result, of course, is very different. So for the sake of this demonstration, this will be our cell, and this will be a cell in my son Noah. Now, when Noah was born, he was a combination of both his mother's genes and my genes. As a human, he would have 46 chromosomes in 23 pairs. Now, I can't possibly fit all of that in this cell, so for this demonstration, we will say that as a full-fledged human, Noah has 4 chromosomes. So let's begin. Noah received chromosome number 1 from me and chromosome number 1 from his mother. These are a homologous pair of chromosome number 1s, and they are called homologous pairs because if we flip them over, you will see that they have very similar genes for the same structures. So his mother gave him a gene for ear size, and I gave him a gene for ear size. We both gave him a gene for digestion. We both gave him a gene for the number of cilia. We both gave him a gene for his blood type. And we both gave him a gene for metabolism, which is how fast he can create and use energy. So these are the genes that I gave him for chromosome number 1. These are the genes that his mother gave him for chromosome number 1, again, making a homologous pair. Chromosome number 2 is here from me, and chromosome number 2 is here from his mother. So he has 4 total chromosomes, he has 2 different chromosomes, and he has 2 homologous pairs of chromosomes. And again, chromosome number 2 is another homologous pair having the genes for eye color, for dimples, for cavities, for body size, and for hair color. Now in real life, he has thousands and thousands of genes, but of course for this demonstration, these are the genes that he was given. So he was born, and when he was born, the sperm and the egg fertilize each other, and these genes came together and will help Noah to develop his entire life. Mitosis will happen during this time to help him grow and develop, but meiosis will not happen until Noah hits puberty. And when he hits puberty, the testes, because he's a male, or the ovaries, if you're a female, will start to undergo meiosis. And meiosis starts the same way that mitosis does with interphase. And like mitosis, in interphase, the chromosomes create a duplicate copy of their genes. So here are the copies. Here's the copy of my wife's, his mother's chromosome number 1. Here's the copy of chromosome number 2 that she gave to Noah. Here's the copy of my chromosome 1 that I gave to Noah. And here's the copy of my chromosome 2 that I gave to Noah. This happens at the tail end of interphase. In Prophase I, the copies and the originals bond together in the middle at their centromere. And all of these will bond together, creating a pair of originals and copies. Now, the other thing that happens in prophase that does not happen in mitosis is that because these are homologous chromosome pairs, they will actually bond at their centromere all together, forming a pile of genes, if you will, and this is called a tetrad. It is 1, 2, 3, 4 homologous chromosomes all stuck together. So this forms a tetrad, and in this tetrad, something very, very important happens. It is called random assortment. And in random assortment, because they are homologous chromosomes, and because they carry the same genes or types of genes, and they are in the same place, they exchange genes from chromosome to chromosome. So to demonstrate that, we might see that this ear size gene will actually switch places, again, random assortment, with this chromosome. And we might see that the cilia and the blood type genes that his mother gave him will switch places with the cilia and blood type genes that I gave him. Again, this can happen because these are homologous chromosomes. They carry the same types of genes in the same geographic location on the chromosome. So this tetrad has undergone random assortment. It's exchanged some of the genes, and again, it's in a random way. We're not really sure which genes will get exchanged from one chromosome to the other. Here's chromosome number 2 and its genes. And these genes will also randomly switch. So let's take eye color from this chromosome and it will switch with the eye color from this chromosome. And let's take the bottom 2, hair color and body size, and let's switch that with this one's hair color and body size. So random assortment has occurred in chromosome number 2, and of course it goes and does all this in the tetrad formation. So prophase is over, random assortment has occurred, and the next thing that happens is metaphase I. And just like in mitosis, in metaphase I, the tetrads, which is different, line up in the middle. In anaphase I, spindle fibers come up, and what they will do is they will grab the pairs of chromosomes, and they'll take this pair and move it to one side of the cell, and this pair will go to the other side of the cell. They'll take this pair of chromosomes and move it to one side of the cell, and this pair will move to one side of the cell. In telophase I, a nucleus will cover these chromosomes, and a nucleus will cover these chromosomes. Notice that we have 4 chromosomes in these cells that are going to be inside of this nucleus, and cytokinesis happens where it divides it. So now we have 2 cells. Notice that there is a homologous pair of chromosome 1s. There's a homologous pair of chromosome 2s. And these are still diploid cells. This can't stay this way because in meiosis, you go from a diploid cell to a haploid cell. So the next thing that happens is individually within each one of these cells, Metaphase II occurs. And in Metaphase II, chromosomes will again line up in the middle of the cell, here and here, here and here. Anaphase II will come up and will grab these chromosomes, and the chromosomes will move to one side of the cell. Chromosomes will move to one side of the cell in this particular cell. Over here, these chromosomes will move over to one side. These chromosomes will move over to one side. A nucleus will cover this, 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 and this in telophase II, and then cytokinesis will happen, and it will divide those 2 cells into 4 cells. 1 cell, 2 cells, 3 cells, 4 cells, and notice that these are now haploid cells. There's a chromosome 1 in each one of these cells. There's a chromosome 2 in each one of these cells, but they are all singlets. Now, since Noah is a boy, and this has occurred during puberty and onward until he dies, this is a sperm cell, this is a sperm cell, this is a sperm cell, and this is a sperm cell. Now, eventually, Noah will meet his future wife, and they may decide to have children. And during this time, he's making millions and millions and millions of sperm. Not all of them used. In fact, the vast majority of these haploid cells will actually die and be reabsorbed by the body. So for, again, the sake of this demonstration, let's pretend that Noah and his wife, future wife, decide that they're going to have a baby. Well, one of these sperm will need to fertilize an egg. Which sperm will it be? Well, again, that's random. And so let's just say that this sperm is not it. It dies and is reabsorbed by the body. This sperm does not fertilize the egg. It dies and is reabsorbed by the body. This sperm does not fertilize the egg. It dies and is reabsorbed by the body. So what we have is this sperm, again, randomly chosen, and notice that this haploid cell is a combination of both my genes that I gave him and his mother's genes that she gave him. And in this particular chromosome, there's more of his mother's genes than mine. Chromosome number 2 is the same way. In chromosome number 2, he has a combination of a couple of my genes that he's going to be passing on to my grandchild and a bunch of his mother's genes that he's going to be passing on to his child. So realistically, due to random assortment and the randomness of which sperm fertilizes the egg, this grandchild is probably going to look more like the child's grandmother, my wife, Noah's mother, than it's going to look like me. Now, this sperm has to fertilize an egg. So here we have chromosome number 2 found in the egg, chromosome number 1 found in the egg. This sperm will fertilize this egg, and of course, his future make-believe wife has also gone through meiosis. She's gone through puberty, and notice that her egg, having gone through the same process, is also a combination of her parents' genes. Here's a lot of her father's genes and one of her mother's in chromosome 2. In chromosome number 1, there's a number of her father's genes and a couple of her mother's genes. So his future make-believe wife, the egg that is randomly being fertilized by this sperm, has a little more of her father's genes. So what we can say about this grandchild is realistically, it's probably going to look like Noah's mother and his future wife's father because it contains more of those genes. So these chromosomes, homologous chromosomes, will get together at fertilization. These homologous chromosomes will get together at fertilization, and the genes contained within them will help this baby to grow. My grandchild will grow according to the genes in here. And when my grandchild gets to the age of puberty, then meiosis will happen, and the same process that you just saw will happen to these chromosomes, except of course now we have some other genes added into the mix coming from Noah's future wife's family. And so she will add into the mix genes from her side of the family. Noah will add into the mix genes from his side of the family. And my granddaughter or grandson will produce a great-granddaughter or grandson, which will be a combination of both my wife's genes and my genes and Noah's wife's parents' genes.
New Cupid. Time for a change. New style, down, do your dance, do your We got a brand new dance. Down, do your dance, do your dance. Swing on, baby. Do your dance. by yourself. Now